The bizarre truth you never knew. These are extremely strange syndromes that humans can suffer from. First is the eyeball dislocation syndrome. When afflicted with this syndrome, the victim can protrude their eyeball outside the eye socket at will. Most victims report feeling nothing, but a few cases have reported extreme pain every time their eyeball protrudes and feel as though their eyes are about to fall out. Next is the real-life internet disconnection syndrome. In some people, due to memory malfunction, they occasionally experience temporary loss of consciousness. Every time this happens, it's like they're temporarily dead. They say that during that time, they have no consciousness whatsoever. It's completely like a blank space. After a few seconds of nothingness, they return to normal and continue functioning as if nothing happened. Finally, there is the fish odor syndrome. This is a rare genetic metabolic disorder that causes the urine, sweat, and breath of the victim to have a fishy or rotting fish-like odor. It's scary because if you unfortunately have this syndrome, you have to live with this smell for the rest of your life, as there is currently no known cure for this condition. The eerie truth that no one has ever known. This is the parasitic species with the most terrifying lifestyle on the planet, the zombie fungus. This type of fungus usually parasitizes in the body of an ant. They control every action of the host, turning the ant into a soulless zombie and ultimately causing excruciating death to the poor ant. When an ant is infected with zombie fungus, it will first go through a diseased stage. In this stage, the ant still operates normally. However, shortly after, the ant starts to become insane and leaves its colony. The common action is that it crawls straight up the tree or leaf and finds a suitable position to grip its feet and jaws tightly and wait for a slow and painful death to come. A few days later, the culprit starts to pierce the ant's head to emerge with the purpose of spreading its fungal spores to new hosts. The scary thing is that ants are not the only type that can be infected with this bizarre fungus. Flies and butterflies can also be turned into zombies. But the most painful thing is the cicadas. When infected with zombie fungus, the cicadas will experience sexual hallucinations that make them do it endlessly. Even when their abdomen falls out of their body, they will not stop until exhausted and die. The strange fact that you never knew. Humans have made a 3.5-year-old mummy able to speak. Recently, scientists from New York University successfully reconstructed the larynx of a 3,000-year-old mummy. This mummy was an ancient Egyptian priest. They conducted this experiment to test whether recreating human voices from the past was feasible or not. To do this, they measured the larynx of the mummy in great detail and then used 3D printing technology to create a larynx and simulate the voice produced by that larynx. The recording below is the sound reproduced from that 3,000-year-old mummy. Although this is just a simple sound, not a complete voice, scientists believe that in the near future, reproducing the complete voice of historical figures from mummies is entirely feasible. The bizarre fact you've never heard of before. The lemurs is the most hedonistic animal on the planet. In the forests where they live, there are many toxic millipedes. Lemurs often capture these millipedes and put them in their mouth, pretending to bite them in order to make the millipedes react by secreting a solution containing the toxic chemical satiety. This will cause the lemurs to drool continuously. The mixture of drool and poison is then rubbed onto their fur to help them repel harmful insects. However, this is not their main purpose. After the mixture has passed through their digestive tract, the real effects that lemurs are hoping for begin to take effect. First, they experience a collapse. Then their eyes become dull and gradually close. All senses on their body begin to feel dizzy, floating, and time seems to stop. At this point, the lemurs officially enter a state of intoxication. The high lasts for almost an hour, but for them, it's not enough, so they continue to search for and squeeze out the poor millipedes to prolong their high until they no longer know who they are, and then they start to fall asleep.